The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council stood silent. 500 representatives from different worlds sat in their floating seats. The room was huge. Crystal walls showed the stars outside. Everything looked peaceful. But today was different. Today the Council had to make a hard choice. Ambassador Chen from Earth stood in the center. His hands were shaking. Sweat drops fell from his forehead. He had been talking for 20 minutes. His voice was breaking. Behind him on the massive screen everyone could see Earth. Blue and beautiful. But around Earth there were red dots. Thousands of red dots. Enemy ships. The HFY invasion fleet had surrounded his home world. 2 billion humans were waiting for help. They were waiting for the Council to save them. Chen looked around the chamber. He tried to make eye contact with the representatives. The Valorians looked away. The Centauri delegation whispered among themselves. The Krix ambassador checked his datapad. Nobody wanted to look at him. Chen felt his heart sink. Something was very wrong. The Council had saved other worlds before. They had rules. They had treaties. Earth had followed every rule. Earth had paid every tax. Earth had sent soldiers to Council wars. Now Earth needed help. Now it was their turn to receive protection. The High Chancellor finally spoke. His voice echoed in the chamber. He was a tall being from Proxima. His skin was gray. His eyes were old and tired. Ambassador Chen, we have heard your request. The Council will now vote. Chen felt a small hope. Maybe they would help. Maybe his people would survive. He thought about his daughter back on Earth. She was only 7 years old. He had promised her he would bring help. He had promised her everything would be okay. The voting began. One by one the lights appeared above each representative. Green meant yes. Red meant no. Chen watched the board. The first light turned red. Then another red. Then another. His stomach turned cold. More red lights. The Valorians voted red. The Centauri voted red. Even the small colonies voted red. Chen could not believe it. Where were the green lights? Where were Earth's friends? The board filled with red. Like blood spreading across water. Final count appeared on the screen. 473 votes against Earth. Only 27 votes for Earth. The chamber was quiet. So quiet Chen could hear his own heartbeat. He looked at the High Chancellor. The old being would not meet his eyes. Chen's voice came out as a whisper. Why? We followed every law. We helped you in 3 wars. We opened our trade. We shared our culture. Why are you abandoning us now? A representative from Valor stood up. Her voice was cold and calculated. Earth is too far from the core worlds. The HFY fleet is too strong. If we send our ships to help you, we will lose them. We cannot risk our military for one planet. It is simple mathematics. We are sorry. But she did not sound sorry. She sounded relieved. Like a difficult problem had been solved. Chen felt rage building inside him. Simple mathematics. You are talking about 2 billion lives. 2 billion souls. Children. Families. Scientists. Artists. We are not numbers on your datapad. We are people. We trusted you. We believed in this council. His voice grew louder. Some representatives shifted uncomfortably in their seats. But nobody changed their vote. Nobody stood up to help him. The High Chancellor raised his hand for silence. The vote is final. Earth, you are on your own. We advise you to negotiate with the HFY. Perhaps they will show mercy. This session is closed. The words hit Chen like a physical blow. On your own. Negotiate with monsters. Show mercy. The HFY did not know mercy. Everyone in this chamber knew that. The HFY destroyed worlds. They took resources and left nothing alive. This was a death sentence. The Council had just killed Earth. Chen stood frozen. Around him representatives began to leave. They walked past him quickly. Some looked guilty. Most looked indifferent. They had other business to attend to. Other meetings. Other votes. Earth was already forgotten. Just another problem that solved itself. Chen pulled out his communication device. His hands were still shaking. He had to contact Earth. He had to tell them. No help was coming. They were alone. He sent the message with tears in his eyes. No support approved. Council has abandoned us. Prepare for invasion. I am so sorry. He thought about his daughter again. He had broken his promise. He could not save her. He could not save any of them. As he walked out of the chamber, he stopped at the doorway. He turned back one last time. He looked at the council symbol on the wall. Unity, protection, justice, all lies, beautiful lies. Chen spoke quietly, but his words carried weight. We will remember this. If somehow we survive, we will remember every face that turned away. We will remember who our real friends are. And we will remember our enemies. Then he left. The chamber doors closed behind him with a final sound. On Earth, the HFY ships began their attack. The sky turned red with fire. And the Council did nothing. They had made their choice. Now Earth would make theirs. The first HFY battleship entered Earth's atmosphere over Tokyo. The sky turned black. People in the streets looked up and saw death coming. The ship was massive. Bigger than any human vessel. Its hull was dark red like dried blood. Weapons lined every surface. Within seconds the attack began. Energy beams cut through buildings like paper. Glass and steel melted. Fires erupted across the city. People ran in every direction. Mothers grabbed their children. Old people fell in the chaos. Nobody knew where to go. Nowhere was safe. Earth's defense fleet moved to intercept. Admiral Rodriguez commanded from the orbital station. She had 70 ships. The enemy had over 2,000. She knew the math. She knew this was hopeless. But she gave the order anyway. All ships engage. Make them pay for every inch. Her fleet attacked with everything they had. Missiles launched. Railguns fired. For a brief moment there was hope. 3 HFY ships exploded. Then 10 human ships vanished in return fire. The exchange was not equal. It was a massacre. On the ground, soldiers fought building to building. Lieutenant Park set up his position in Seoul. His squad had basic rifles and 1 rocket launcher. Against them came HFY ground forces. Creatures that stood 8 feet tall. Armor that deflected bullets. Claws that could rip through concrete. Park's squad fired until their weapons ran hot. They killed 2 of the creatures. 7 more came. Park watched his friends die one by one. He sent a final message to his family. I love you all. Fight if you can. Run if you must. Survive. In underground bunkers, people huddled together. They listened to the sounds above. Explosions. Screams. The grinding of metal and breaking of stone. Children cried. Parents held them tight and lied. It will be okay. Help is coming. But help was not coming. The Council had made that clear. Earth was alone. Some people prayed. Some people just sat in silence. Some people started writing goodbye letters they knew no one would ever read. News broadcasts continued as long as they could. A reporter in London stood on a rooftop. Behind her the city burned. This is Sarah Mitchell reporting. The HFY have taken the eastern districts. Our military is fighting bravely, but they are overwhelmed. If anyone is listening, if anyone out there can help us, please. We are dying here. Her voice cracked. Then the feed cut to static. Her tower had been hit. She was gone. President Hall sat in the emergency command center deep below Washington. Reports came in from every continent. All bad news. Africa was being systematically destroyed. Europe's defenses had collapsed. Asia was fighting street by street but losing ground. Australia had gone silent 3 hours ago. South America was preparing for invasion. North America was next. She looked at her generals. How long do we have? General Morrison did not sugarcoat it. At this rate, maybe 2 weeks before complete planetary occupation. Maybe less. Our weapons are not enough. Our numbers are not enough. We need a miracle, Madam President. Hall closed her eyes. She thought about the council. She thought about Ambassador Chen's last message. Abandoned. The word burned in her mind. She opened her eyes again. They were hard now. Determined. If we are going to die, we die fighting. But we are not dead yet. Activate Protocol Exodus. Morrison looked surprised. Madam President, that protocol is theoretical. We have never tested it. The risks are enormous. Hall stood up. The risk of extinction is larger. Do it. Move everyone we can into the deep shelters. Shut down all surface communications. Make the HFY think we are finished. Let them believe they have won. Morrison hesitated, then saluted. Yes, Madam President. Across the planet the order went out. Military units began controlled retreats. Civilians flooded into underground facilities, ancient mines, subway systems, caves, anywhere below ground that could hide people. Engineers worked frantically. They sealed entrances. They set up life support. They gathered supplies, food, water, medicine, weapons, everything they could salvage from the burning world above. It was chaos. It was desperate. But it was organized chaos. Humanity had one advantage. They knew how to survive. They had survived ice ages, plagues, wars, disasters. They would survive this too. Admiral Rodriguez gave her final order. All remaining ships. Kamikaze Protocol. Take as many of them with you as possible. Make them remember this day. Her 70 ships had become 12. Those 12 turned and accelerated directly at the HFY fleet. Full speed. No retreat. They crashed into enemy vessels. Massive explosions lit up the orbital space. Rodriguez's last words were transmitted across all channels. Earth remembers. Earth survives. Earth will return. Then silence fell. The surface battles ended. Not because humanity surrendered, but because humanity disappeared. The HFY searched the ruins. They found empty cities, abandoned bases, no resistance. They sent reports to their command. Planet neutralized. Population eliminated. Beginning resource extraction. They believed they had won. They believed Earth was dead. Above the planet their ships began mining operations. Taking metals. Taking water. Taking everything of value. But deep underground millions of humans lived. They watched screens showing the surface. They saw their world being stripped bare. They saw the enemy walking through their cities, through their homes. Children asked when they could go outside again. Parents had no answer. Scientists and engineers gathered in secret facilities. They began working. New weapons, new ships, new technology. They had time now. The HFY thought they were ghosts. Let them think that. Ghosts could plan. Ghosts could prepare. And ghosts could return. In the deepest bunker, President Hall stood before a communications array. She composed one final message. It was encrypted. It would take years to reach the council. But she sent it anyway. The message was simple. This is Earth. You left us to die. We will remember this. If we survive, we will remember every face that turned away. You taught us that we stand alone. Thank you for the lesson. We will not forget. She pressed send. Then she turned to her people. The survivors. The forgotten. Now we rebuild. Now we become stronger. Now we make sure this never happens again. 10 years passed. The galaxy moved on. The council rarely spoke of Earth anymore. It was an unfortunate incident. A tragedy. But the galaxy was large and there were always new problems. New trade disputes. New border conflicts. New elections. Earth became a cautionary tale that representatives told in private. A reminder of what happens when you are too far from the core worlds. When you cannot offer enough value. The council archives listed Earth as destroyed. Total population loss. Planet stripped of resources by HFY occupation. Case closed. File sealed. The HFY had left Earth 5 years ago. They took what they wanted. Metals, rare minerals, water. Then they moved on to richer targets. Earth was a dead rock now. At least that was what everyone believed. No signals came from Earth. No ships. No communications. Scanners showed no life signs. The planet looked gray and empty from space. Dust storms covered the surface. The beautiful blue world was gone. Only ruins remained. On the Council homeworld of Proxima Prime, life continued peacefully. High Chancellor Vorn still led the Council. He was older now. More tired. He rarely thought about Earth anymore. When he did, he felt a small guilt. But he pushed it away. The decision had been correct. Mathematically sound. Strategically necessary. Saving Earth would have cost too many ships. Too many lives. The needs of the many outweighed the needs of the few. He told himself this often. Sometimes he even believed it. But peace never lasts forever. 6 months ago, new reports started coming in. Ships disappearing on the outer rim. Small colonies going silent. At first the Council thought it was pirates. Raiders. Normal criminal activity. They sent patrol ships to investigate. Those ships never came back. Then larger vessels vanished. Commercial freighters. Transport ships. Even a military cruiser. All gone without a trace. No distress signals. No wreckage. Just empty space where ships used to be. The attacks grew bolder. A mining station was destroyed completely. 200 workers killed. Security footage showed something before it cut out. Ships. Large ships. Design unknown. Moving with precision and speed that seemed impossible. The Council began to worry. Was this a new threat? A new enemy? The HFY were quiet now. Busy with their own territories. This was something else. Something new. Chancellor Vorn called an emergency session. The chamber filled quickly. Representatives whispered nervously. Fear spread like disease. The Valerian delegation demanded action. The Centauri wanted more patrols. Smaller colonies begged for protection. Vorn listened to them all. Then he authorized a full military response. The Council fleet would deploy. Find this threat. Eliminate it. Show the galaxy that the Council still had power. Still had strength. Admiral Kess was given command. She was their best. Ruthless and efficient. She took a fleet of 300 ships to the outer rim. 2 weeks later Kess sent her report. Her voice was shaken. Professional soldiers did not sound like this. Chancellor, we found them. We engaged. We lost 40 ships in the first exchange. Their technology is beyond anything we have seen. Their shields absorb our weapons. Their firepower is devastating. We are retreating to defensive positions. Request immediate reinforcements. The message ended. The Council chamber erupted in chaos. Before reinforcements could be sent, another message arrived. Not from Kess. From a colony world called Theta 7. The transmission was panicked. They are here. Unknown fleet in orbit. They are demanding our surrender. Please send help. Please, we have families here. Children. Please. Then screaming. Then nothing. Theta 7 went dark. 2 million souls gone. Just like that. The Council realized this was not a raid. This was war. More colonies fell. The unknown enemy moved like a scalpel through Council space. They did not negotiate. Did not communicate. Just attacked and moved on. Their pattern made no sense. They did not take resources. Did not occupy territory. They just destroyed and left. What did they want? Chancellor Vorn demanded answers. Intelligence services worked around the clock. Who were these attackers? Where did they come from? What did they want? Then came the breakthrough. A scout ship managed to escape an attack. The pilot was wounded but alive. He had captured footage. Grainy but clear enough. The enemy ships were visible. large, angular, efficient design. And on the hull of the lead vessel was a symbol. The intelligence analyst froze when she saw it. Her hands shook as she enhanced the image. There on the hull, clear as day, a symbol everyone recognized. A blue circle with green continents. White clouds. Earth. The symbol of Earth. The report reached Chancellor Vorn within the hour. He read it 3 times. His face went pale. Impossible. Earth was destroyed. The planet was dead. He had seen the reports himself. No life. No signals. Nothing. This had to be a mistake. Some group using Earth symbols. Pirates, maybe. Scavengers. It could not be Earth. Could not be humanity. They were gone. Extinct. Dead. But then another message came. This one was broadcasted to every council vessel. Every station. Every world. The voice was human. Female. Clear and cold. This is Captain Williams of the Earth Defense Fleet. For 10 years we were dead to you. You left us to burn. You left us to die. You told yourselves it was necessary. Logical. We learned from that lesson. We learned that in this galaxy you stand alone. That treaties mean nothing. That the strong survive and the weak perish. Thank you for teaching us. Now class is in session. The message ended. Vorn sat in his chair staring at nothing. Around him his staff panicked. Demanded orders. Demanded explanations. But Vorn could only think one thing. Earth survived. The humans survived. And they remembered. They remembered everything. He had made the biggest mistake of his long life. He had created an enemy that had nothing left to lose. An enemy that had spent 10 years preparing, planning, building, and now they were here. Now they wanted payment. Payment in blood. The camera moved through darkness. Deep underground on Earth. Miles below the surface where the HFY had never found them. Where scanners could not reach. The tunnels were vast. Carved out over 10 years by machines that never stopped. By hands that never rested. Lighting strips ran along the walls casting pale blue light. The air was recycled. Clean but metallic. This was home now. This was where humanity had hidden. Where humanity had survived. Where humanity had become something new. President Hall was old now. Gray hair. Lines on her face that had not been there before. But her eyes were still hard. Still determined. She walked through the main facility. Around her thousands of people worked. Engineers at computers. Soldiers in training yards. Scientists in laboratories. Children in classrooms learning mathematics and history and warfare. Everyone had a purpose. Everyone contributed. There was no room for waste. No room for weakness. Survival demanded everything from everyone. She entered the command center. A massive room carved from solid rock. Screens covered every wall showing data. Ship positions. Resource counts. Training schedules. Battle simulations. General Morrison stood at the central display. He was older too. Scarred from the early fighting. He had lost his left arm in the first week of the invasion. A mechanical replacement moved with perfect precision now. He saluted as Hall approached. She returned it. Status report, General. Morrison pulled up a hologram. Phase 3 is complete, Madam President. All underground cities are fully operational. Population stable at 1.8 billion. We lost many, but we saved most. Food production is meeting targets. Water recycling at 98% efficiency. Air quality nominal. We can survive down here indefinitely if needed. Hall nodded. Survival was not enough. She wanted more. And the military production. Morrison smiled. It was not a kind smile. Ahead of schedule. We have completed construction of 800 vessels. New designs. Built from HFY technology we salvaged. Built from Council technology we stole from their databases before they abandoned us. Built from human innovation born of rage and necessity. Our ships are faster. Stronger. Better than anything the galaxy has seen. We have trained 500,000 crew members. Pilots, gunners, Marines. All of them remember what happened. All of them want payback. Hall walked to the display. She touched the hologram. Ship schematics rotated before her eyes. Beautiful and terrible. Weapons that could crack planets. Shields that could absorb punishment that would destroy Council vessels. Engines that could cross distances in days that took others weeks. Show me the weapon. Morrison hesitated. Madam President, are you sure? Once we show them this, there is no going back. The galaxy will fear us. Hall turned to face him. Good. Let them fear us. Fear kept them alive while we died. Now fear will keep us alive. Show me. The hologram changed. A massive construct appeared. Cylindrical. 20 miles long. Covered in energy collectors and particle accelerators. Morrison explained. We call it the hammer. It channels stellar radiation and converts it to focused energy. One shot can destroy a battleship. 3 shots can crack a moon. We have built 5 of them. Hidden in the asteroid belt. The Council has no idea they exist. Hall studied the weapon. 10 years ago this would have horrified her. The destructive power was immense. Terrible. But 10 years ago she still believed in the Council. In justice. In help coming. That woman was dead. Burned away in the fires of betrayal. The woman who stood here now understood the galaxy differently. Understood that power was the only language that mattered. When do we deploy? Morrison checked his data. The fleet is ready. Crews are ready. Weapons are ready. We have identified Council military positions. Supply routes. Weak points. We can strike within 48 hours. Hall felt something cold settle in her chest. This was really happening. Earth was going to war. Not defensive war. Offensive war. Revenge war. Part of her remembered the old rules. The old morality. Do not start conflicts. Seek diplomatic solutions. Protect innocent life. But another part remembered Ambassador Chen's face when he returned. Remembered the reports of cities burning. Remembered her own daughter's last message before she died in the Tokyo attack. 7 years old. Begging for mommy to save her. Hall's voice was ice. Begin Operation Resurrection. Show the Council what dead humans can do. Morrison saluted again. Orders went out immediately. Across the underground cities alarms sounded. Not emergency alarms. Deployment alarms. Soldiers moved to their ships. Engineers made final checks. Families said goodbye to their warriors. Children were too young to remember the surface. They had been born underground. Raised in darkness. But they knew the stories. Knew about the betrayal. Knew about the Council that left them to die. They cheered as the soldiers marched past. Make them pay. Make them remember. The ships launched from hidden bays. Massive doors opened in what looked like empty craters. One by one the vessels rose. Sleek and deadly. They assembled in orbit where XA Thor ships had once gathered. Where Admiral Rodriguez had made her last stand. Where humanity had bled. The fleet formed up. 800 ships. More than Earth had ever built before. More than anyone thought possible from a dead world. Captain Williams commanded from the flagship Retribution. She had been a lieutenant when the invasion started. She had watched her entire unit die. She had crawled through rubble for 3 days to reach a shelter. She remembered everything. She forgot nothing. Her voice was broadcast to every ship. Attention all vessels. Today we return. Today we remind the galaxy that humanity does not die easily. We were betrayed. We were abandoned. We were left to burn. The Council made a choice 10 years ago. They chose to save themselves. They chose to let us perish. They chose mathematics over mercy. Now we show them the cost of that choice. Now we collect the debt. All ships prepare for jump. Target coordinates locked. Council space. Let them see us coming. Let them know fear. The fleet jumped. Space twisted. 800 ships vanished. heading toward Council territory, heading toward revenge. Behind them Earth sat silent and dark, looking dead, looking empty. But deep below the surface millions watched screens, waiting, hoping, praying. Their warriors were going to war. Their ghosts were going to haunt the ones who killed them. And the galaxy would never be the same. Council Station Sentinel hung in space like a jewel. The largest military outpost in Council territory. Home to 50,000 personnel. Docking bays for 500 ships. Weapon platforms that could defend against entire fleets. It orbited a gas giant in the Proxima system. The heart of Council space. The symbol of their power. Admiral Kess commanded the station now. She had been promoted after her losses against the unknown enemy. The irony was not lost on her. Lose ships get promoted. Council logic at its finest. Kess stood on the command deck watching her screens. The attacks had stopped 3 days ago. No more colonies destroyed. No more ships vanishing. Just silence. Her analysts thought maybe the enemy had retreated. Run out of supplies. Gotten what they wanted. Kess did not believe it. She had fought enough battles to know. This was not victory. This was the calm before the storm. Something was coming. Something big. She ordered all stations on high alert. Double patrols. Triple sensor sweeps. If the enemy showed up, she would be ready this time. The Council itself was in emergency session on Proxima Prime below. Chancellor Vorn had called every representative. Every delegation. The chamber was packed. Fear hung in the air like smoke. Reports played on the central screen. Colony after colony destroyed. Ships torn apart. 2,000 Council personnel dead in 2 months. And still they did not know who the enemy was. The message from Earth had confused everyone. Earth was dead. Everyone knew that. This had to be imposters. Scavengers using Earth's name. Trying to scare the Council. It was working. The Valerian representative stood to speak. Her voice was sharp with anger. We demand action. Our colonies are dying. Our people are terrified. The Council must respond with overwhelming force. Send the entire fleet. Find these terrorists. Crush them. Cheers erupted from many delegations. Others nodded agreement. Fear made people want simple solutions. Violence. Revenge. Show of strength. Chancellor Vorn raised his hand for silence. We have deployed our forces. Admiral Kess commands Station Sentinel with orders to engage any hostile vessels. But we must also consider diplomacy. Perhaps these attackers can be reasoned with. A new voice cut through the chamber. It came from the speakers. From everywhere and nowhere. The security team scrambled. How did someone hack their communications? The voice was calm. Human. Male. Chancellor Vorn. You speak of diplomacy now. How interesting. Where was your diplomacy 10 years ago? Where was your reason when Ambassador Chen begged for help? Where was your consideration when Earth burned? The chamber went silent. Every representative froze. That voice. That accent. Human. Actually human. Vorn's face went pale. Who is this? Identify yourself immediately. The voice continued, ignoring him. I am Commander Zhou of the Earth Reconnaissance Division. I am speaking to you from your own station. We have been here for 3 days. Walking your corridors. Accessing your systems. Learning your secrets. You never saw us. Your sensors never detected us. We are very good at being invisible now. 10 years of hiding teaches you things. Panic spread through the chamber. Delegates shouted. Guards rushed to secure the building. Vorn slammed his hand on the desk. This is impossible. You are lying. Earth is dead. Zhou laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Dead. Yes, you declared us dead. Filed the reports. Closed the case. Convenient. Clean. No guilt. No responsibility. But we did not die, Chancellor. We evolved. We learned. We became what we needed to be. And now we are here. Right above you. Our fleet just arrived in your system. You should look up. Vaughn ran to the window. Other representatives followed. They looked into space. The view should have shown stars. The rings of the gas giant. Station Sentinel in the distance. Instead they saw something else. The sky was filled with ships. Hundreds of them. Sleek angular vessels that looked nothing like council designs. They were dark. Almost black. Covered in armor plating. Weapons visible on every surface. They moved in perfect formation. Disciplined. Professional. Deadly. And they were everywhere. Surrounding the planet. Surrounding Station Sentinel. The delegates stared in horror. Where did all these ships come from? How did they get so close without detection? The answer was simple. Earth had learned to be ghosts. On Station Sentinel alarms screamed. Admiral Kess watched her screens fill with red contacts. 800 hostile vessels. All around them. Her own fleet had 300 ships and most were out on patrol. She only had 80 vessels at the station. Her weapons platforms were powerful but not enough. Not against this. She opened communications. Unknown vessels, this is Admiral Kess of Council Defense Forces. You are in violation of Council space. Withdraw immediately or we will open fire. She tried to sound confident. Strong. Inside she was calculating odds. They were bad. Very bad. The response came from the largest vessel. A woman's voice. Cold as ice. Admiral Kess. I know who you are. I read your file. You fought at the Battle of Meridian. Tactical genius they called you. You saved 3 colonies. The Council gave you medals. That was 8 years ago. You know what happened 8 years ago on Earth? We were still digging out our dead. Still burying children. Still trying to grow food in underground farms. While you got medals we got forgotten. I am Captain Williams. This is the Earth Defense Fleet. We are not here to negotiate. Kess felt her blood run cold. What do you want? Williams was quiet for a moment. When she spoke again, her voice was softer. Sadder. More dangerous. We received a distress call. Council territory under attack. Colonies dying. People begging for help. We came as fast as we could. We are here to help. Just like you helped us. Kess understood immediately. The sarcasm. The bitterness. The rage hidden behind professional words. You are here for revenge. Williams corrected her. No, Admiral. We are here for justice. There is a difference. Revenge is emotional. Justice is mathematical. You taught us that. The Council taught us that numbers matter more than lives. So let us do the math. Earth lost 200 million people. 200 million souls that the Council abandoned. By your own rules, by your own logic, that debt must be paid. We are here to collect. Kess looked at her screens. At the massive fleet surrounding them. At her own inadequate forces. At the planet below full of civilians and politicians and people who had voted to abandon Earth. She realized something terrible. They were not going to win this fight. Earth had come home. And Earth had brought hell with it. On Proxima Prime, Chancellor Vaughn watched the fleet through the window. His hands shook. His breath came short. This was his fault. His decision. He had voted to abandon Earth. He had convinced others to vote the same way. He had told himself it was necessary. Logical. The right choice. Now the consequences of that choice filled his sky. Ready to rain fire. He turned to his staff. Get me a communication line to that fleet. We need to negotiate. But even as he said it, he knew. You cannot negotiate with ghosts. You cannot reason with the dead. Earth had learned that lesson 10 years ago. Now it was the Council's turn to learn. The communication channel opened. Chancellor Vaughn stood before the camera. Behind him the Council chamber was chaos. Representatives shouting. Guards trying to maintain order. Alarms echoing through the building. But Vaughn forced himself to appear calm. Diplomatic. He had negotiated treaties for 40 years. Ended wars. Brokered peace. Surely he could talk his way through this. He cleared his throat. Captain Williams. I am Chancellor Vorn, Supreme Leader of the Galactic Council. I wish to speak with you about resolving this situation peacefully. The screen flickered. Captain Williams appeared. She was younger than Vorn expected. Maybe 40 years old. Short dark hair. Scars on her face. Eyes that had seen too much death. She wore a simple uniform. Black with silver trim. On her chest was Earth's symbol. That blue and green planet that no longer existed above ground. She stared at Vorn without expression. Chancellor. I remember you. I was a lieutenant when you made your decision. I watched Ambassador Chen return to Earth. I saw his face. I saw what your vote did to him. To all of us. So yes, let us talk. I am listening. Vorn chose his words carefully. Captain, I understand your anger. What happened to Earth was a tragedy. A difficult decision made in difficult times. But we can discuss reparations. Compensation. Territory. Resources. Whatever Earth needs to rebuild. The Council is willing to negotiate in good faith. Williams tilted her head slightly. Good faith. That is an interesting phrase, Chancellor. Tell me, where was your good faith 10 years ago? Where was it when our children died? When our cities burned? When we begged you for help and you voted no? Vorn felt sweat on his forehead. It was not personal, Captain. It was strategic necessity. The Xathor fleet was too strong. We would have lost ships. Lost people. The mathematics were clear. We had to protect the greater good. Williams smiled. It was terrifying. Mathematics. Yes. The Council loves mathematics. Lives are just numbers on a spreadsheet. Acceptable losses. Strategic calculations. We learned that lesson well, Chancellor. Should I show you our mathematics? 200 million dead. That is the number you decided was acceptable. Now let me show you what we consider acceptable. She pressed something off-screen. On Proxima Prime, every screen changed. Government displays. Personal devices. Public broadcasts. All showed the same thing. Footage from Earth during the invasion. Real footage. Not sanitized reports. Actual scenes of horror. Cities collapsing. People burning. Children screaming for parents who were already dead. Soldiers fighting with bare hands when ammunition ran out. Hospitals overflowing with wounded. Mass graves being dug. The council chamber went silent. Representatives stared at screens. Some turned away. Some covered their mouths. Some started crying. This was what they had voted for. This was what acceptable losses looked like up close. Vorn could not look away. He saw a little girl, maybe 6 years old, crying over her mother's body, calling for help that would not come. He felt sick. Turn it off. Please. We understand. We made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But continuing this violence will not bring your people back. It will only create more death. More suffering. Is that what you want? Williams leaned forward. What I want, Chancellor, is for my daughter to still be alive. She was 7. She loved drawing. She wanted to be an artist. She died in the first wave, crushed under a building. I want my husband back. He was a teacher. He stayed at his school protecting students. They found his body 3 weeks later. I want my parents back. My friends. My world. Can you give me those things, Chancellor? Can your negotiations bring back the dead? Vorn had no answer. Williams continued. No. You cannot. So instead I want something else. I want you to understand. I want you to feel what we felt. The fear. The abandonment. The realization that no help is coming. That you are alone. That the galaxy does not care if you live or die. I want you to know that feeling, Chancellor. The way we knew it. The way we lived it for 10 years in the dark. She gestured. That is why our fleet is here. Not to destroy you. Not yet. But to show you. To teach you. The same lesson you taught us. Vorn tried again. His voice was desperate now. "Captain, please. There are billions of people on Proxima Prime. Innocent people. Children. Families. They did not vote to abandon Earth. They did not make this decision. You cannot punish them for our mistakes." Williams stood up, walked closer to the camera. "Innocent people. Children. Families. Yes, Chancellor. Just like on Earth. And where was your concern for them? You just showed me equations. Strategic necessity. Mathematics. Those billions you speak of, they are just numbers to you. The same way our billions were just numbers. So let me ask you, if the mathematics say we should destroy this planet to ensure Earth's survival, would that be acceptable? Would that be strategic necessity?" The chamber erupted. Representatives screamed. "You cannot do this. This is madness. You are monsters." Williams waited for the noise to die down. "Monsters. Interesting. When the Council abandons a world, it is strategy. When Earth seeks justice, it is monstrous. The hypocrisy is beautiful." She paused. "But you are right about one thing, Chancellor. We are not like you. We do not make decisions based only on mathematics. We remember that numbers represent lives. Real people. Real souls. That is why we are not going to destroy Proxima Prime." Vorn felt a moment of relief. "Then you will withdraw. Leave peacefully." Williams shook her head. "No. We are not leaving. We are staying. Right here. Surrounding your planet. Surrounding your stations. Our weapons are armed. Our shields are up. And we are going to wait. Wait while you beg us for mercy. Wait while you offer us deals. Wait while you promise things you never intended to give. We are going to let you feel helpless. Powerless. Abandoned. Just like you made us feel. And while we wait, while you panic and scramble and negotiate, more of your colonies are going to go dark." She pulled up a star map. Red dots appeared. Dozens of them. These are Council colonies. Undefended. Far from the core. Places you consider acceptable losses. My fleet is not alone, Chancellor. We have other ships. Smaller groups. Already moving. Already in position. Every hour that passes, every hour you refuse to give us what we want, one colony goes silent. Not destroyed. We are not murderers, but evacuated. Stripped of resources. Left empty. The same way Earth was left. You wanted mathematics, Chancellor. Here are the numbers. You have 72 colonies in vulnerable positions. That gives you 72 hours. 3 days. After that we start making harder choices. Vorn could barely speak. "What do you want? Name your terms." Williams smiled again. That cold, terrible smile. "I want you to beg. The same way Ambassador Chen begged. I want you on your knees, Chancellor. Broadcasting to the entire galaxy. Admitting what you did. Apologizing. Asking Earth for forgiveness. I want every representative who voted against helping us to do the same. Public apologies. Public shame. I want the galaxy to know what the Council really is. A group of cowards who abandon allies when convenient. That is my first demand. You have 1 hour to comply. After that, the first colony goes dark." The transmission ended. The screen went black. Vorn stood frozen. Around him chaos continued. The Valerian representative was screaming about pride. About not negotiating with terrorists. The Centauri delegate was already drafting an apology. Others were running for exits. Trying to evacuate. Trying to escape. Vorn looked at his hands. They were shaking. 40 years of diplomacy. Of careful words and strategic decisions. All of it crumbling. He had always believed the Council was right. That they made hard but necessary choices. Now he understood. Sometimes the hard choice was wrong. Sometimes mathematics missed the point. Sometimes you created enemies that would never forgive. Never forget. Earth had returned. And Earth wanted payment. Not in resources. Not in territory. In dignity. In shame. In the one thing the council valued most. Their reputation. Their image. Their pretense of moral superiority. Williams was going to take it all away. And Vaughan had no choice but to let her. The hour passed like a lifetime. Chancellor Vaughan sat in his office alone. His staff had tried to advise him. The Valerian representative demanded they fight. Pride was worth more than colonies, she said. The Centauri representative begged him to comply. Lives were worth more than pride, he said. Both were right. Both were wrong. Vaughan stared at the prepared statement on his screen. Words that would destroy his legacy. Words that would admit the Council's greatest failure. His hand hovered over the transmit button. 40 years of service. 40 years of believing he served the greater good. All ending here. In shame. In defeat. In truth. The timer hit 0. His communication console beeped. Incoming message from the Earth Fleet. He accepted it. Captain Williams appeared. Her expression had not changed. Still cold. Still determined. Chancellor. Your hour is complete. I have not received your broadcast. That is disappointing. I had hoped you would choose the easy path. But perhaps you need motivation. She gestured off-screen. Commander. Proceed with Colony 17. A new screen appeared next to Williams. It showed a small colony world. New Haven. Population 40,000. Mining settlement on the edge of council space. Far from help. Far from protection. The view was from orbit. Vaughan could see the settlement. Small buildings. Agricultural domes. Children's playgrounds. Normal people living normal lives. Then Earthships appeared. 20 vessels. They moved into position around the colony. Vaughan grabbed his communicator. Stop. Please. I will do what you ask. Just do not hurt them. Williams held up her hand. Watch, Chancellor. This is important. This is your education. On the screen the Earthships began broadcasting. Vaughan could hear the transmission. A calm professional voice. Attention New Haven Colony. This is the Earth Defense Fleet. You have 30 minutes to evacuate. Gather essential supplies only. Our transports will take you to the nearest council station. You will not be harmed. But this colony is being reclaimed. 30 minutes. Do not resist. Do not delay. The transmission repeated. Vaughan watched in horror as chaos erupted on New Haven. People running from buildings. Grabbing children. Throwing belongings into bags. Earth transport ships descended. Large cargo vessels. Their ramps opened. Soldiers in black armor stood at the entrances. Not threatening. Not violent. Just present. Directing traffic. Helping elderly people aboard. Carrying children who were too scared to walk. It was organized. Efficient. Almost kind. That made it worse somehow. This was not rage. This was calculation. This was exactly what the Council had done to Earth. Abandonment dressed up as necessity. Within 20 minutes the colony was empty. 40,000 people loaded onto transports. The ships lifted off. Headed toward council space where they would be dropped at the nearest station. Refugees. Homeless. Everything they built left behind. Then Earth's specialized vessels moved in. Vaughan watched them work. Mining equipment extracted. Power generators removed. Computer systems stripped. Food stores transferred to cargo holds. Within 2 hours New Haven was empty. A ghost town. Just like Earth's surface cities. The Earth fleet jumped away, leaving nothing but empty buildings and broken dreams. Williams turned back to Vaughan. Colony 17 is clear. 40,000 new refugees for you to resettle, Chancellor. I hope you have space for them. I hope you have resources. I hope you calculated this into your mathematics. That was one colony. You have 71 remaining. 61 hours left. Still no apology. Still no broadcast. Shall we continue? Vaughan felt something break inside him. This is cruelty. This is exactly what you accused us of doing. You are no better than we are." Williams leaned close to the camera. Her voice was quiet, deadly. "No, Chancellor. We are much better. We gave them warning. We gave them time. We evacuated them safely. We did not leave them to die. We did not abandon them to alien invaders who would kill them all. We showed them more mercy in 30 minutes than you showed Earth in 10 years. But you are right about one thing. This is cruelty. Calculated cruelty. Strategic cruelty. The kind you understand. The kind you respect. Because kindness did not work. Begging did not work. Following your rules did not work. So now we follow new rules. Our rules. Earth's rules. The rules we learned from you." Vorn looked at the empty colony on his screen. Thought about 71 more colonies. Thought about millions of refugees flooding council space. The economic impact. The political chaos. The public outcry. Williams had chosen perfectly. She was not destroying worlds. She was creating problems. Massive unsolvable problems that would tear the council apart from inside. Smarter than war. More effective than violence. She was going to drown them in their own refugees. Bury them in their own failures. And the galaxy would watch. Would see the council unable to protect its own people. Unable to stop a single species they had declared dead. He made his decision. Pressed the transmit button. His face appeared on every screen in council space. Every world. Every station. Every ship. Billions watched. Citizens of the council. I am Chancellor Vorn. I speak to you today to admit a grave mistake. 10 years ago, Earth requested our aid. They were under attack. Facing extinction. Ambassador Chen begged us for help. We voted no. We abandoned them. We told ourselves it was strategic necessity. We told ourselves we were protecting the greater good. We were wrong. His voice cracked. We were cowards. We let 200 million people die because it was convenient. Because it was easier than fighting. I voted to abandon Earth. I convinced others to vote the same way. That decision haunts me. That decision was the greatest failure of my life. Of this council's existence. Williams watched the broadcast. Her crew watched with her. Some looked satisfied. Some looked uncomfortable. Revenge felt good until you got it. Then it just felt empty. Williams thought about her daughter. About her husband. About the millions who died. Would they want this? Would they want the council on its knees? Or would they want something better? Something more? She thought about what Earth had become. Survivors. Fighters. Better than those who abandoned them. She made her choice. She opened the communication channel. Chancellor Vorn. I have watched your apology. It is a start. But words are not enough. You asked us not to become monsters. Fair request. We will not evacuate more colonies. But we are not leaving. Earth will have justice. Real justice. Not revenge. Tomorrow you will convene the council. You will propose new terms. New treaties. New rules. Earth will have a permanent seat. Earth will have veto power. Earth will have equal voice in all decisions. And there will be a new law. Any council member under attack will receive immediate aid. No votes. No debates. No mathematics. Just help. You will call it the Chen Protocol. After the ambassador you ignored. These terms are not negotiable. You have 24 hours to pass them. Or we resume operations. Do you understand? Vorn nodded slowly. Defeated but alive. Shamed but breathing. I understand, Captain. It will be done. Williams ended transmission. Looked at her crew. Stand down from combat status. Maintain position. Let them scramble. Let them debate. Let them remember what it feels like to be helpless. She thought about Ambassador Chen. Wondered if he would approve. Wondered if the dead ever found peace. Wondered if she ever would. 3 days later the council convened. Every representative was present. Nobody dared miss this session. The chamber that had once voted to abandon Earth now gathered to give Earth everything it demanded. The irony was thick enough to taste. Chancellor Vorn stood at the podium. He looked older, worn down. The weight of his confession still hung over him. His political rivals were already circling. Calls for his resignation echoed through the halls. But today was not about his career. Today was about survival. The survival of the Council itself. The Earth fleet still surrounded Proxima Prime. 800 ships holding position. Weapons powered down but ready. A constant reminder. A sword hanging over their heads. Captain Williams had been true to her word. No more colonies evacuated. No more attacks. But the threat remained. Everyone knew it. Everyone felt it. The galaxy watched and waited. News broadcasts from 1,000 worlds covered the story. Earth had returned from the grave. Earth had brought the Council to its knees. The strong had fallen. The dead had risen. History was being written in real time. Vorn began to speak. Honored representatives, we gather today to vote on the Chen Protocol. Named for Ambassador Chun, who 10 years ago stood where I stand now. Who begged us for help that never came. This protocol establishes new rules for Council membership. New obligations. New responsibilities. He pulled up the document. Every representative had read it already. Had debated it. Had argued. But reading it again still stung. First, Earth is granted permanent Council membership with full voting rights. Second, Earth receives veto power on all military decisions. Third, any member world under attack receives immediate Council military response. No votes. No debates. Aid is automatic and mandatory. The Valerian representative stood. Her voice was sharp. Angry. This is surrender. We are giving one world control over our entire military. This is unacceptable. We should fight. We should never bow to threats. Murmurs of agreement rippled through some delegations. Others looked horrified. Fight Earth. Fight those ships outside. Fight people who had spent 10 years preparing for war while the Council grew soft. It was suicide. The Centauri representative stood next. Fight with what? Our fleet is scattered. Our best ships are facing Earth's guns right now. We fight and we die. Hundreds of worlds die. Billions die. For what? For pride. Pride does not feed refugees. Pride does not rebuild colonies. We vote yes. We accept these terms. We survive. More representatives spoke. Some agreed. Some raged. Some simply looked defeated. The debate lasted 3 hours. But everyone knew how it would end. The galaxy had changed. Power had shifted. Earth held the cards now. Finally Vorn called for the vote. All in favor of the Chen Protocol, raise your hand. Slowly hands went up. One by one. Even the Valerian representative eventually raised hers. Jaw clenched. Eyes burning. But her hand went up. The vote was counted. 493 votes in favor. 7 against. The Chen Protocol passed. Earth had won. Vorn transmitted the results to Captain Williams. She appeared on the main screen. The entire Council could see her now. This human who had brought them low. This survivor who refused to stay dead. She looked at the vote count. Nodded once. The Council has shown wisdom. Rare but appreciated. Earth accepts these terms. Our fleet will withdraw from Proxima Prime. We will establish an embassy here. Ambassador Chen's daughter will serve as our first representative. She survived the invasion. Spent 10 years underground. She understands what is at stake. She will make sure this Council never forgets. Williams continued. But understand this. We are not rejoining your Council because we forgive. We are not here because we trust you. We are here because we learned your lesson too well. Power is the only thing that matters. The strong survive. The weak perish. Earth is strong now. Stronger than you know. Stronger than we ever were before. We will use that strength to make sure what happened to us never happens again. Not to Earth. Not to anyone. That is our promise. That is our purpose. The galaxy will be better. Or we will make it better. By force if necessary. She stood. Behind her the bridge of the Retribution was visible. Crew members at their stations. Weapons consoles. Tactical displays. All showing council positions. Showing vulnerabilities. Showing that Earth could destroy them if it chose to. One more thing, Chancellor. The 5 representatives who spoke loudest against helping Earth 10 years ago. We have their names. Their voting records. Their speeches about acceptable losses and strategic necessity. They will resign. Today. They will retire from public life. They will never hold council positions again. That is not negotiable. That is justice. Vorn started to protest, then stopped. What could he say? Those representatives had made their choices. Now they faced consequences. He nodded. It will be done. Williams ended transmission. The Earth fleet began to move. Slowly. Deliberately. They broke formation. 800 ships turning in perfect synchronization. Beautiful and terrifying. They accelerated away from Proxima Prime. Heading back toward Earth. Back to their broken world. Back to their underground cities. But they were not defeated anymore. Not forgotten. Not abandoned. They were council members now. Equal partners. Protected. Respected. Feared. On Earth, President Hall watched the fleet return. She stood in the command center surrounded by her people. The survivors. The forgotten. The ghosts who refused to die. Cheers erupted as the vote results came through. People hugged. Cried. Laughed. 10 years of darkness. 10 years of pain. 10 years of building and planning and preparing. It had worked. Earth had not just survived. Earth had won. Hall thought about her daughter. About all the children who died. About Ambassador Chun who had returned home broken. She wished they could see this. Wished they could know their deaths meant something. That Earth remembered. That Earth avenged them. Not with destruction. Not with genocide. But with justice. Real justice. She addressed her people. Today we rejoin the galaxy. Not as victims. Not as the ones who were left behind. But as equals. As protectors. We have power now. Real power. But power without purpose is just violence. We will use our strength to build something better. A council that actually protects its members. A galaxy where no one gets abandoned. Where no one gets forgotten. That is why we survived. That is why we fought. Not for revenge. For change. For a future where what happened to us can never happen again. The cheers grew louder. Earth's flag rose on screens across the underground cities. Blue and green and beautiful. A planet that refused to die. A people who refused to surrender. In the council chamber on Proxima Prime, the 5 named representatives stood. They gathered their belongings. Walked toward the exits. Their careers were over. Their legacies destroyed. Some looked defiant. Some looked ashamed. All looked old. Tired. Beaten. They had voted based on mathematics. On cold calculation. On what seemed logical at the time. They never imagined consequences. Never imagined the dead would return. Never imagined Earth would rise from ashes stronger than before. They learned too late. Some lessons can only be taught through pain. Chancellor Vorn watched them leave. Then looked at the empty seat being prepared for Earth's representative. Chen's daughter. A girl who lost everything. Who survived the unsurvivable. Who would now sit in the chamber where her father had begged for help. The poetry was brutal. Perfect. Vorn knew his own time was limited. Calls for his resignation would not stop. But before he left he would do one thing right. He would welcome Earth's ambassador properly. Would give her the respect her father deserved. Would try to rebuild what his cowardice had broken. It would not be enough. Could never be enough. But it was something. A start. The galaxy had changed forever. Earth had been betrayed. Earth had been forgotten. Earth had been left to burn. But Earth survived. Earth remembered. And Earth made sure the galaxy would never forget. The council chambers would have a new voice now. A voice that spoke for the abandoned. For the betrayed. For everyone who had ever been told they did not matter. That voice would be loud. That voice would be strong. That voice would be Earth. And the council would listen. They would listen because they had no choice. They would listen because Earth's fleet was still out there. Still watching. Still ready. They would listen because they finally learned the most important lesson. Never abandon your allies. Never forget your promises. Never leave anyone behind. Because the dead do not always stay dead. Sometimes they come back. And when they do, they bring justice with them. Cold and mathematical and absolutely fair. Earth had come home. And nothing would ever be the same again.